Thank you so much for joining us today at our wonderful Long Island MacArthur Airport. First of all, I'd like to begin by thanking the Suffolk County Asian Jade Society for commissioning Army veteran local Hop Hog resident and artist John Clancy for creating this beautiful image, Every Generation Has Its Heroes. The COVID-19 pandemic left an indelible mark on the residents of Long Island, on our frontline workers who came together to help one another in life and tragically in death. And I think what happened here has been happening across our great country. This beautiful painting memorializes an unimaginable time in our history when our police and fire officials, our healthcare workers, store clerks, residents demonstrated a deep compassion for one another and an unwavering resiliency and support for one another. This painting will be a lasting reminder for travelers the world over who pass through our airport and who share a debt of gratitude to those who rose to this immeasurable challenge. And on behalf of the entire town board and Long Island MacArthur's leadership, we accept this painting with deep appreciation and gratitude. I would like to ask, and I made reference to it before, Senator Monica Martinez, who was very instrumental in bringing us all here today, unfortunately got caught in session. Her first duty is to the residents of this great state. She's a fine, fine member of the New York State Senate, represents us so well here in the town of Islip and in the town of Brookhaven too. But the session times were changed and she can't get out. She's committed. But she has a wonderful chief of staff, Adina, who is going to read some remarks on Monica's behalf. Adina?
Thank you, Supervisor. On behalf of Senator Martinez, good afternoon. Thank you for joining us on this warm summer afternoon to honor the men and women that helped our great state get through one of the hardest times we as a generation are facing. COVID-19 has changed the way we live and go about our daily routines, and thanks to our essential men and women who stood on the front lines, put their lives in peril to save the lives of others, we are able to continue accessing basic necessities and lives as safe as possible. To them, we are eternally grateful. Our frontline and essential workers put their lives on the line every day, day in and day out, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, often going weeks without a day off. They would take their potentially contaminated clothes off outside of their homes to protect their families and go months without hugs from their children and loved ones to protect them, all to continue to help the rest of us. The donation of this beautiful mural by local Army veteran John Clancy will serve as a long-standing reminder to all that walk by it of what Long Island endured and honor those who unfortunately succumbed to this virus. Senator Martinez would like to extend a heartfelt thank you to the Suffolk County Police Asian Jade Society for all of their donations of PPE, care packages to our nurses and healthcare workers, and for the coordination of today's donation and event. Please stay safe and healthy. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Gina, and please, please thank the Senator for us. We're very disappointed that she couldn't be here.
As is she.
Yeah, I'm sure. I'd also like to introduce Ed Hugh, the detective from the Suffolk County Police Department, who is president of the Suffolk County Police Asian Jade Society. Ed?
Thank you. I just want to thank everybody for coming here today. I want to welcome some of our distinguished guests. Civilian aide to the Secretary of the Army, Steve Castleton. You mentioned him. Islip Town Aviation Commissioner, Shelley LaRose-Arken. Islip Town Aviation Deputy Commissioner, Robert Schneider. Representing the Suffolk County Detectives Association, Secretary Treasurer George Michaels. Representing Suffolk County Superior Officers Association, President James Grunfelder. And some of our community partners, Bang Bang Burritos, Frank Carbone. Tango Argentinian Steakhouse, Nicholas Kalidas. And Maloya Fabrication, Marc, Anderes, who did the framing on the painting. So I want to welcome them all here today. We are here today to commemorate the sacrifices of all the essential workers who continue to do what they do for the safety of others in the fight against COVID-19 pandemic. This pandemic struck our communities, and endangered our normal way of life. The Suffolk County Police Asian Jade Society was at the forefront in support of our local hospital workers, law enforcement officers, military personnel, and business owners. Since the pandemic shut down our community, the Asian Jade Society provided some relief by creating a Feed Our Heroes program, which served over 2,000 meals to doctors, nurses, police officers, military personnel, and veterans at over 20 facilities. We also created a fundraising campaign known as Call to Action, where we reached out to local organizations in the community, the 3 police unions, and all fraternal organizations within the Suffolk County Police Department, and raised over $10,000 to manufacture face shields and donated them back to local hospitals. We partnered up with the Suffolk County Asian American Advisory Board, Long Island Chinese American Association, and the Center of Chinese Learning at Stony Brook, and donated over 6,000 face masks. We also partnered up with an organization called Frontline Wines and coordinated the donation of over 1,000 bottles of wine to medical staff of over 25 medical facilities and hospitals on Long Island, New York City, upstate New York, and Connecticut, in appreciation for their commitment in helping others while putting themselves in harm's way. Most rewarding of all, we recognized and provided financial support to local individuals in the community who created PPEs with funds out of their own budget, even though they were out of work due to this pandemic. All this brings us here today. As it was mentioned before, we commissioned local artist John Clancy, who is an Army veteran, and I want to personally thank him for his service, so thank you. To create a painting titled "Every Generation Has Its Heroes," to honor our local essential workers during this pandemic, and we are proud to present this original painting here today and have it displayed here at MacArthur Airport. We will have 2020 additional prints available for sale on our Asian Jade Society website and here for $20.20, and each of these prints will be personally signed by the artists. The proceeds will be used to continue our fight against the COVID-19. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ed, and thank you for sharing all of the good works of the Suffolk County Police Asian Jade Society, some of which we were not aware of, so thank you. We really appreciate that. And our good friends representing our detectives and the SOA. I didn't know you were here, but welcome. Thank you. Next, I'd like to introduce someone who's a good friend to all of us here, especially at Long Island MacArthur Airport, and of course this great county, and especially to the town of Islip, my good friend, Chief of Department Stu Cameron.
Thank you, Supervisor Carpenter. You know, 2020 was supposed to be a great year for the Suffolk County Police Department, and I've heard many people tell me that. 2020 was supposed to be a great year for me, for my organization, for my school. This is our 60th anniversary, and instead of being a great year, it's probably, in the 60-year history of the Suffolk County Police Department, our most challenging year. These are probably the greatest challenges that our department has ever had to deal with, but it's rewarding to me to see how well this county has responded. From the citizens of Suffolk County heeding what we've asked them to do to bring the curve down, to our towns and villages who we've conferenced with every day, to our fraternal organizations. Asian Jade is one of the police department's fraternal organizations, and normally they host fun events for their members and support the Asian American members of our department. They've reformed themselves during this pandemic to, as Ed Hughes said, do wonderful things for their community. So it's tremendously rewarding for me. They asked me a few months ago if I would participate in this project. It's a tremendous honor for me to help represent law enforcement. One of the things the pandemic has really showed to us is just who truly is essential in our society. Many people that thought they're indispensable were sitting home during pause, and people working in the supermarket were truly shown to be essential. Without them, we would not be able to eat. I want to very much thank John Clancy. I also want to thank you for your service, sir, in the United States Army, for honoring and creating something that will forever stand in MacArthur Airport for us to all remember the sacrifices of our frontline and essential workers. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Chief. And when we do finally unveil this photo, you'll have to look and see if there's anybody standing behind me in that picture that you recognize. I'd like to next introduce someone who has done an incredible job here, leading us at Long Island MacArthur Airport with her incredible team, and that's our Commissioner, Shelley LaRose-Arken. Shelley?
Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Long Island MacArthur Airport. We have been open during the pandemic. We were considered essential as well. And what is wonderful about this mural that's being presented today is it really captures all of those people who have been so critical and so essential to keeping Long Island and our community running. We feel honored that this was the site that was selected to display the mural, and we're thrilled that everybody who comes through our airport is going to get to see it in person. I will tell you a little bit that during the pandemic, we had several travelers come in from out of state who were volunteer medical workers and worked right here in Long Island at our hospitals, and how neat would it have been for them to see this as they were leaving us when the pandemic ended. So thank you again for the Asian Jade Society for putting this together. Thank you so much for your contribution and putting all this together for us. We're very proud. Thank you.
Shelley, I'm sure that those workers that came and volunteered here in our hospitals, having visited here once, are going to come back. So you can't come to Long Island once and not want to come back, especially when you come through Long Island MacArthur Airport. So without further ado, we are going to unveil the wonderful piece of art. But before we do, I'd like to ask our artist, John Clancy, to come up and say a few words. Would you, John?
I would just like to say I'm very honored to even been commissioned to do this piece for the essential workers, since they are the ones that really are the heroes here. And I thank all of you for being here tonight also.